Lucky boy, the race is calling. You're wearing your race shirt.
You know this because you are my friend who I did this with. But we made a
Little
TikTok today where I wore
TikToks.
this.
And I'm looking like the expansion pack for The Sims where you can be criminals.
Yes.
Today, we are reviewing the second episode of The Amazing Race, Season 37, which we are on.
Shout out to all my amazing racers out there. So yeah, let's dive in. I mean, first of all, overall thoughts. I thought this episode was way better than episode one.
That night, you were like... Because you were like so silly, and it was like, I'm glad that, our silliness came through, because I think we were being silly on the race. So
well, episode one, we were giving so severe.
Serious
I think
boots. Today, I actually was talking about it with Marin of our second episode of Dweeb Boar's fame, who's the gayest Animal Crossing character, and I did say, like, episode one, we were giving serious boots, and she was like,
yeah.
Tell me what that means.
Oh.
I'd explain boots.
Right.
And then I was like, this episode we were giving silly boots, of course.
Yes, I would say we were giving more relaxed boots.
Yeah.
Kitten heel, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Silly heel.
Yes.
We started in Hong Kong. We were told to go to a travel agent. People are excited about the travel agents coming back. We weren't that day because what they're not telling you is it was the most insane travel agent experience ever. Like, the production was like, what the hell's going on? Like, this woman was like, you want to get on a plane?
Yeah, no, she had no idea how to book us a flight.
The printer was broken. So they had to go buy a new printer or something insane.
Yeah.
Like,
it was almost as if someone put a paid actor.
It was like an SNL sketch. Yeah.
It was crazy. We were there. It must have been well over an hour.
Oh my god. Yeah. Every team.
Every team showed up pretty much. We sort of then made a sort of fake alliance.
That
with
wasn't shown.
Brett and Mark. They really made it with us. They broached us being like
what about
gays?
Yeah.
Gays alliance? And we were like, sure, Mark.
Yeah. The thing is that I think for both of us, it was exactly as real and as fake as it should have been. It was as real as no, we love you guys. We think you're awesome. We also know you would slit our throats.
Yeah, the alliance was more of a thought experiment.
Yeah, it was cute.
Maybe execution.
Yeah, it was cute.
We decided to opt for the first flight that did have a connection.
Let's talk about someone who had a lot to say about us in the press the other day.
Uh-huh.
James Wallington, what's good?
Oh my god, girl, not the beef. Not you starting beef.
Of course not.
I'm kidding.
On James' podcast, which is amazing, actually, you should go watch it. But and a bunch of other people are saying that play the safe route and go with the more direct flight. But I feel like shit goes wrong on any flight. If it were to go wrong on the first flight, you have the same odds of it going wrong on the first flight to miss your connection than to go wrong on this direct flight. Not really the same odds.
You have twice the risk, but
I feel like we decided luck has to play a factor in all of this, and if it's going to keep us in front, I think we got to take the flight.
So we felt obviously we had enough time to make the connection. Also, we were with other teams when we were talking with Mark and Brett and
Ernest and
Bridget came in. We sort of all talked to each other, being like, we're taking this. Do you guys want to take it? So we were trying not to be alone. And then we fly through Taipei, which, oh my God, was an experience. Thing.
Listen, the stopover did not come without
trials and tribulations. Yeah. It was not stopover and then walk to your gate vibes.
No.
We had to stop on the ground, go through customs, exit the country, technically be out of the international land that airports are and actually be on Taiwanese soil. So we actually got an extra country on our passport, which is crazy. Then go through customs again and security and everything to get on our second flight. Yeah, it was kind of a drama.
It was drama, but at least I remember waiting there. It wasn't like we were rushing onto the plane. So
no, we had a lot of time. We just had to get through a lot of stuff.
It just was intense, yeah. I actually just want to mention Bernie and Carragain's fight.
Oh my God, you're so right.
It's so iconic.
I do not lose. I win.
I do think I'm better than everybody here. Oh! Now that is iconic. And it wasn't even just it wasn't Tiffany Pollard style, over the top. They were really real beautiful emotions.
It was complicated.
It was really complicated, and I loved it being an iconic moment that is also layered in some deep stuff.
Yeah, I feel like we've been lucky this season to really have a lot of complex emotions displayed. Yeah. It's not just been who's first there, and that's what the show is about. I feel like this season particularly
Dynamics.
is a lot about relationship dynamics, which is really, really interesting. So
This was your first time in Japan.
it was.
Did you like it?
Yeah, I loved it. Although Amazing Race travel is like kind of its own thing.
Yeah,
You like aren't really like
Yeah.
taking in the sights
Yeah.
necessarily.
Although I feel like I took in more sights in Japan than I took in Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, definitely. We were more relaxed.
we were more relaxed.
Yeah.
We were more observant.
Yes, we were. Yeah. I mean, a major shift also, I just think, in the way you thought about the game, because instead of there being a 1 in 7 chance of you going home, now there was a 1 in 12.
True.
And so that actually lifted
less,
like a major anxiety off, because it was like the odds had never been better for us to get past the leg.
We get to the intersection. We have to work with another team.
Yes.
We had said there was a sort of thing out there, and weirdly, I think it was mostly because me and you and Brett and Mark had mostly been better at traversing taxis and things like that than Bridget and Ernest. We felt so we were like, I think it's in order, if that does happen, and we do want the two gay teams to work together.
Let's let the first two teams to get there do the intersection together.
Yeah.
No tea.
No tea. There was tea.
Which was also true because at this early in the race, you really don't want to ruffle feathers, I thought. Also, these two other teams, although it was a strange thing last episode with like multiple races happening, so that you had to sort of account for. But these were like theoretically the top first 3 teams, right?
Yeah.
So you don't really want to get on anyone's bad side who you find to be a really strong competitor.
Yes.
And so, I think that also came into play, where it was like first 2 teams, and then it was like odds are good you'll get there in one of the first 2 teams, 2 out of 3.
It's a really interesting thing. People are saying put it later in the
Season.
show, in the season. But I also think it was a really good way for people to start to get to know each other and start to see those dynamics, because they're not going to edit in anything that isn't crucial, but because working together is crucial, it allows you to get a deeper insight into these relationships between the teams. And I like it that it was early. Because of that reason. Yeah. We got there third, and so we had to wait for another team to arrive.
Yeah.
It was a long time. It felt like eons.
Probably 25 minutes.
In race time, 25 minutes, something like that. Something that they didn't show, and we kept on saying obstacles as opportunities. This was an obstacle, and we used it as an opportunity. We started to hear the drums inside. We were like, it's a drumming challenge. And we started to ask people too on the street. I was like,
what's in there?
This call? Like I was like asking people what this is. And we did eventually hear that it was like a musical center, like a concert hall. So we knew it was something musical, which helped us.
And then arrived Anna and Jonathan.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're like over the moon getting paired up with him. I was like, well, I need to be the one who doesn't drop the ball here, because I know he can do anything. I also got away with my first drag of another team on the race so far.
Really? Which was what?
The Scott and Lori drum moment.
Oh my God. That was not even a drag though. They say it's chaos. Yeah. It was such a good moment, Jack.
Yeah. It's just so true.
Yeah. How did it feel like on stage?
It did not feel like we were on stage. Like I was looking only at the drum. I had no idea.
I think that might have helped you.
We were, no, I felt like it was the first time seeing it was on TV last night for me, because like, we did watch it, but like I had no idea people were on top of drums straddling them. I had no idea. I was only straight up like focused on my little drum that's this big, and that's all I know what was happening.
I mean, I'm so happy for you, because I'm happy for us that you were doing that.
Yeah.
But seeing the whole thing, I'm not joking when I said it was like the best concert of my life.
Yeah, it was just a really fun detour, because it was really challenging. Like that was what was fun about it. No matter where you ended up, you knew that like coming away from it that you'd feel good about it. I think that was like what was really interesting. And also like you felt doubly good about when you finished, because your other person was proud of you that you both had made it, that you didn't like fail them in a way.
Yeah.
Like I was not just trying to get through for you and I. It was like I have 2 other people now that are depending on me. It almost felt like not wanting to let down like your parents is sort of what it felt like to me when I was working with Anna and Jonathan. Not because like they're not that much older than we are at all, but like someone who's judging you, not in a bad way, but who's sizing you up, relying on you, and you need to be proud of you.
Yes.
It was a really interesting thing.
Yeah. Then we left. I was so, it was like the best thing ever.
Oh my God.
Thank you for that.
I was so confused too, because I was like, oh my God, are Brett and Mark and Ernest and Bridget gone? Like, I was like,
no, girl.
How many people left?
Okay, so then we leave the concert hall. We go to Dontonbori Bridge.
You knew how to get there.
I knew how to
which is
get
crazy.
there. I didn't really know how to get there, but I do know what that bridge is. So it was like, I'll know when we're close.
Mochi or Mawashi?
Mochi or Mawashi.
Yeah.
We chose Mawashi. Y'all need to go look up the videos of these Mochi people who do it. Mochi is usually, I believe, 3 people usually, and it's 2 hammers and a hand person. And these hammers are like, have you ever seen like Sonic the Hedgehog? You know, like their hammers are just, like 5 times the size of their body. Like that is what I'm used to seeing in Mochi. And I'm like, hitting that 100 times, like it's going to be exhausting. Like, and one also seemed more iconic, the sumo wrestling.
Yeah.
Turns out they were hitting little
Toy
hungry hippo little hammers.
No, they were still big.
No, they were big, but
it did seem to be the easier detour, which is totally fine because we got away with easier detour last episode. Something we learned from this challenge was doing whatever challenge, if you have an option, that gets you closer to finishing. Yeah. So in Mochi, right, you have to, even if it takes a long time, right, as long as you're making progress, like you have to do like 100 hits with the hammer, even if you're moving at 1 hit per minute, right? Like you're going to get to the end where the dough is right. And then no matter, if you make 1,000 little mochi balls, probably like 24 of them are going to be right.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Mawashi one, if you are missing a step, if you aren't
have to
seeing
start all
something,
over.
If you have just a little something wrong, you can't really just like pull a knot and fix it. It doesn't really work like that. And so it was like you either get it or you don't. You have to start over. And if you're not picking up on new things or learning, then you're just making the same mistake. Any challenge you have to do something perfectly is really hard. Yeah. If you can do a challenge that like you can make 100 mistakes and only 10 of them have to be good, or perfect, then like that's sort of the better option.
Totally.
It seemed like we were having a lot of fun during that time.
We were having a lot of fun.
Finger guns and the spinning, and we were like wedging each other, and it was really fun. But in reality, I actually felt so much more stressed than was portrayed on television.
Oh my God, I was begging that sumo wrestler.
Yeah, like
I was literally
Japanese.
Speaking. I was speaking Japanese. I was like, "Kudasai, Sasaki-san, kudasai." Like I was like, please. Like we finished this, and we head to the pit stop, which is a beautiful temple, and it was really, really gorgeous. I'll never forget walking in there, seeing all the daruma.
Yeah. Also, you weren't allowed to run in the temple, so you couldn't run to the pit stop. You had to walk. It actually took quite a bit because it was like kind of deep in the temple. Actually, something I saw on like I think the Discord or something. The one thing they were like, why don't they show people like running the pit stop in this episode as much? Like we kind of just showed up.
Yeah.
And I think it's because it wasn't dramatic. We had to walk.
Yeah, we had to walk.
And so like even if you were nearby another team, if they were 100 meters in front of you, you like kind of couldn't pass them.
You couldn't pass them, yeah. But yeah, it was gorgeous, and I remember telling our camera guy on the way, it's like, I think we're in 9th.
Yeah, 8th.
Yeah, 8th.
6th to 8th.
So to get
maybe
4th
9th.
place,
oh my God, that's why we were jumping for joy.
We were jumping for joy.
I think we were happier with that than the first
We
place.
We were, of course. I felt like a little school child because Phil told me, he talked about, he was like, so you speak Japanese? He was like, well, why don't you say something to these 2 lovely ladies here? And I was like, I like turned to the 2 lovely ladies, and it felt like I was like a preschooler. I was like, watashi wa Carson desu. Like I was like a little kid, like being like, this is my Japanese. Like it was, and they were like, okay, good. Like yeah.
No, they were really sweet.
They were sweet.
They were actually really excited. I think.
Yeah, they were like,
because I think so many people probably come to Japan from America and just expect everyone to speak English to them. So I think it's like better than nothing. It's girl. It's better than nothing.
It's cute.
So I commend you.
It's cute. I'm sure afterwards they were like, did you see that? Like some notable things that are in the episode too that we haven't even mentioned. I mean, first of all, the swaps. I mean,
oh my God, the placement swap.
The placement swaps. We've got
first
Lori
to last.
And Scott. First to last. Yeah. We've got last to first.
The fact that Scott and Lori and Bernie and Carragain were on that last flight and neither of them went home is crazy.
Yes. And Scott and Lori.
It was an hour, almost 2 hours behind our flight. 2 hours behind our flight.
Insane. Second place.
And they beat us at that point, that day. I think was the moment where we were like, oh, Scott and Lori are not to be messed with.
No, they are not to be messed with.
Yeah.
Well, and also I think maybe that contributed to because all you have to go on is what you know about these people, like in terms of where they were in the past, right?
Yeah.
So when I saw Scott and Lori go and pass the Mawashi, I think then that's when I realized I was like, they can't be in second because they were in 12th. So that means if they're coming in somewhere like 5th right now, if they skipped even a lot of stuff, right? That would put us
8th.
like 8,
yeah.
right?
And the sad excitement, yes,
Mark,
was Brett,
Ernest,
Mark, Ernest, and Bridget. First flight, first 2 to the intersection, all the way to last.
Yeah.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
You couldn't have written that better.
And it was crazy for us because they beat us to there, and but like we could have been salty about that, but at that point we really did bond with them over that flight, and
we were like,
really loved
have
them.
at it, you guys get ahead, like we were like, it's y'all's turn to get ahead.
Yeah,
we'll wait, and that's fine. But oh my God, who knew a sweet watch and a hard watch? I thought I was like both really impressed with all of them. Mark, I was really impressed that he gave so much grace to Ernest. How can I support you? I thought also, again, another layered emotion of like, I don't know how to help him. I don't know this guy really that well.
Yeah.
I need help too.
Yes, and being able to balance that.
Yeah, and Ernest never giving up. Bridget was like being so supportive.
I remember in that airport, that's when Ernest was sort of like, man, I love you guys.
Yeah.
He was like, I love you guys. And I was like, to have somebody find such a connection with somebody like, and 10 hours later, they're out of the competition. It's just a crazy, crazy thing to be like, we had one night in Taipei and
where we were like locked in.
No
phones. You're just chatting forever.
And then suddenly they're gone. Yeah.
Yeah. It was super strange. And I think that's also what made the intersection so exciting and also like kind of heartbreaking, which was like, we were actually excited about it because we were like, we get to work with these people that like we are making connections with, that you like really newly feel personal connection with. Yeah. And yet it becomes something that actually is really difficult because then you have to see them leave. Pour one out.
Yeah. And ooh, look at that. This is for Ernest and Bridget.
I'm scared.
Yep. I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
You killed it.
See you next week.
See you next time. Wait, before we go, on our D&D channel, we just did Amazing Race D&D with Ricky and Cesar, and it was like the best session ever.
On an all-new season of The Astounding Chase, 13 dynamic teams of 2 will embark on a breathtaking, thrilling, unpredictable journey.
Yes, the concept of the actual D&D episode is we are playing in The Astounding Chase, which is like the Amazing Race of the fantasy world. So if you guys want to see us do that and find out who makes it through leg 1, go check it out.
We need to get some sleep.
Yeah.
See ya!